This video is the full, step-by-step comprehensive guide for people who want to start a drop servicing business. First, we'll go over what's a drop servicing business exactly, how I found success with this business model, how to pick a niche and a service to sell, as well as how to get leads and close deals. And finally, we'll go over how to find good remote contractors to do the work for your customers. Now, since it's probably the first time you and I meet, why should you listen to me? My name is Fred, and I'm an entrepreneur from a lower middle class background. I went from having only $400 to my name over 5 years ago to making upwards of $1,000 a day with my own consulting business. So let's begin with what is a drop servicing business in the first place. Now, online, you will find plenty of videos on the top 10 best ways to make money online or the top 10 best business models to start for beginners. But my problem with most of those videos is that first, the person making the video actually has no experience with any of the business models they're sharing with the viewers, but on top of that, most of those businesses, they're not actually suited for beginners. A beginner-friendly business model is a business model that can take pretty much anybody from $0 to $10,000 per month pretty quickly. Maybe you've heard of dropshipping before. So what people do when they do dropshipping is that they find a cool, trendy product, like it could be a rose bear, fidget spinners, some kind of cool lamp, that kind of product. And then what they're going to do is to build a Shopify store, which is an e-commerce platform, around this one product. And then to get customers, they're typically going to run some Facebook ads in order to get clients. But the problem is that when you do that, you are reselling the same crappy AliExpress products as all of the other competitors. And usually, you're going to charge $50 or even less. So not only do you need to spend hundreds of dollars per day, even thousands of dollars per day on ads to actually have a profitable Shopify store, but on top of that, profit margins are extremely small. Typically on the low end, 9%, and on the high end, 20%. So even if you made $10,000 in a month reselling physical products from AliExpress on your own store, you would only keep between $900 to $2,000. And that's before you pay your corporate tax. So if you paid a 25% corporate tax, which is going to be the case in most countries on average, you will be left with $675 all the way up to $1,500. When remember, initially you made $10,000. So stay the hell away from things like dropshipping or selling physical products as a beginner. But what you can do instead is to dropship services. So to give an example, let's say you had no idea how to do paid ads. Plenty of business owners around the world want to get more customers. And one way that they do that is through paid advertising. The average person would be like, oh well, I don't know how to do paid ads for business owners, so I can't do it, therefore I can't start my business. And most people stop there, so they never start that business and so they never become financially free. But clever individuals realize, well hey, I could simply connect buyers and consumers. I could find a business owner who wants to get more customers, sell them a Facebook ad service, which will get them more customers, and if I don't know how to do it myself, I'm going to leverage a remote contractor to do it for my customers. So your job would be to find customers, close them, then pay a contractor some of the money that you've made, keep a part of the profits and make the customer happy, and keep doing that again and again. That's what CEOs all over the world do. They hire employees who work for them and do the work for the customers. The CEO is typically not the one who's in the trenches every day. The CEO manages the whole structure. He or she is responsible for making the right decisions and move the company forward. But the downside of having an employee is that you need to pay them a fixed salary month after month. And if you're just getting started, you most likely can't afford to pay somebody $2,000 to $4,000 per month, which is why we leverage remote contractors, because you only pay the contractor after you get a customer. So you never risk spending money out of pocket. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever bought something from Amazon? Have you ever booked a place to stay on Airbnb? Were you ever in need of a ride? And did you ever pull up the Uber app to book a ride? Chances are you've done these things. And guess what all of those businesses have in common? Amazon, Airbnb, Uber, even Booking.com, they're not the ones providing you the service that you wanted. They connect buyers and consumers. Most of the products that you can find on the Amazon website, they're not made by Amazon. They're sold by third-party vendors. Airbnb doesn't own any hotels. Instead, they connect tenants who want to make more money with travelers looking for a place to stay. Uber doesn't own any cars. Instead, they connect drivers looking for clients and travelers looking for a ride, and they keep a part of the profits. But what all these billion and trillion-dollar companies do is simply connect buyers and consumers. Do websites like Craigslist offer services directly? No. Again, they connect buyers and consumers. Now, some people say, oh wow, I can't really think about a business paying me $2,000 per month for my services. But the thing that you have to realize is that for a business, let's say you could make them an extra $20,000 per month in recurring revenue, they would gladly pay you $2,000 per month because you're giving them a 10x return on their investment. So it's huge. And on top of that, you might not even realize this, but even your local coffee shop, they have so many expenses every month. And if they were to hire you to help them get more business, they can deduct it from their taxes. So they have money to spend on contractors and on agencies. In fact, one of my students was actually working with a remote contractor who was doing Facebook ads for local restaurants to book them more tables. And the funniest part is that this student didn't even know a single thing about Facebook ads. But instead what he did was to find a customer, a restaurant, close them, like pitch them his services, they paid him, and then he found a remote contractor, and that remote contractor provided Facebook ads for the customer. And if you're wondering, the customer was actually very satisfied, because since they track everything, they were able to see there was a clear return on investment. More people visited the restaurant's website and booked a table. And when you're doing something like local lead generation, it's actually pretty easy to get them more leads. You just need to target the right people in your ads. Now, to give you another example, back in 2022, I started my first ever proper consulting business. So what I was doing at the time was done-for-you lead generation services for entrepreneurs, because I figured if I had to learn to book meetings with potential customers for myself to make my business successful, I knew for a fact other business owners also wanted to have somebody do that for them, either because they didn't have the time, it was too annoying to do, so they were gladly willing to pay somebody else to do it for them because it would directly bring them more revenue. So that's what I started to do, because I saw that plenty of business owners struggled to book more meetings with their potential customers. And so my first customer ever paid me something around $300, but then I was able to increase my prices and to charge for figures. And at first I was working alone, but then I was able to get the help of a remote contractor who was doing it for my customers, so I didn't have to do the work myself, because if I had to do everything myself, I couldn't have worked with multiple customers at a time. Now, if you'd like to discover in detail how I went from struggling financially, only having $400 in my bank account, to making upwards of $1,000 a day with my own service-based business and my consulting business, I've recorded a free video in which I share with you everything I did step by step. That way, you can literally just copy me. I'll leave the link in the description below. Or if you're truly committed to starting your business so you can become financially free, you can apply to speak with me or my team and we'll see if we can help you. Now, how do you pick a service to sell? Well, first, you need to find a niche, because the service that you sell is going to depend on what the niche needs. So what's a niche to begin with? It's simply a group of people who have similar desires and problems. So to give you an example, people in their 30s who want to lose weight and get in shape, that's a group of people with similar interests, desires, and problems. And your niche, because they're unable to find a solution to their problem themselves, you're the one who brings it to them. Whenever you purchase anything, you are buying the solution to a problem. You buy clothes either because, well, you need them, otherwise you're going to be cold, so you solve a problem, or you buy clothes like, let's say, a Gucci shirt because you solve yet another problem, which is the desire for status, for love, for recognition. When you go to the gym, you buy a solution to a problem, which is that you want to be fit, you want to be in shape, you want to have more energy, to feel better in your own skin, to live longer. You're always buying a solution to a problem. If there's no problem, then you won't be able to sell anything to anyone. To give you an example, real estate agents want to get more customers, and if you could help them to do that successfully, they would gladly pay you a lot of money for that. So the best niche to pick is the one that you have an interest in, but also that you understand. Now, it doesn't matter if you don't understand any niche right now, because you can learn it. You can do some research about your niche and figure out exactly what they need. There is no better niche than other niches. However, you need to make sure you're selling something to people who can actually afford to pay you. If you were to try to pitch an offer for $5,000 to 15-year-olds, well, I'm sure you can see it's not going to work unless you're only selling to rich kids. So now that you've got your niche and you know what painful problem you can solve for them, how do you go about getting leads and customers? Typically, you can do that in 3 ways. You can go to paid advertising, but if you're a beginner, I don't necessarily recommend that, because you're most likely going to lose thousands of dollars. Sometimes you need to be able to spend $5,000, $10,000 just to test an ad. So if you can't afford that, it's not a good idea to begin there. So what you can do instead is outreach, so manually reaching out to potential customers, and this works pretty well if you know how to do it, because I know plenty of people, like especially one guy in particular in e-com, and per month, guess how many meetings he's booking with his ideal customers? 4 to 5 meetings on a good month. I'm able to get 7 booked meetings in a single day. So while you can reach out to people manually, you need to have the right strategy, because plenty of other people are doing the same thing. So if you don't know how to stand out, you're probably not going to get many answers, and you're probably not going to get many booked calls and many customers. You have to have a precise strategy and know what you're doing. And this is also what I help my students to master. And the other way to attract your ideal customers to you is by making free valuable content on social media, showcasing your expertise and making people understand exactly how you could help them. And this is extremely powerful. 10 people could watch your video, 100 people could see your video, 1,000 people could see your video. Whereas when you reach out to somebody, you can only send one message. Like, you send one message message to one person, and if you wanted to reach 10,000 different people, you would need to do 10,000 times more. Whereas with a video, you record it one time and it can reach like an unlimited amount of people. And on top of that, since people are coming to you, they're the ones who need your help. Whereas if you go to them, you have to be a bit more careful about the things that you say and the phrasing because you went to them. If they went to you instead, you are in the dominant position because they're the ones who clearly acknowledge they need your help. Now you have to understand that in any given market, only 1% of leads are actually willing and able to buy right now. Because for somebody to purchase your solution, they need to meet the following criteria. They need to know what you have to offer, to want it, and to have the money right now to invest. Because they could know what you have to offer, want it, but if they can't pay you, like what's the point? And they could know what you want, and they could have the money, but if they don't know what you have to offer, or they don't want it, you can't close those customers. So our goal is to find that 1% of people and to separate these people who are action takers, who are willing to invest now, from all the people who are just going to try to waste your time and all the freebie seekers. Now the reason we want to sell on a meeting is because if you try to just direct people to a web page with a button to buy, conversion rates are extremely low, typically 0.5%. So you would need a lot of visibility to actually make this work. And when you're a beginner, unless you have an audience of hundreds of thousands of followers online or more, you're probably not going to get a lot of visibility. So you need to optimize the little visibility that you get. And typically on a sales meeting, you're going to be able to convert between 15 to 30% of all the qualified leads you have a conversation with, because most people still won't buy for many different reasons. And one of the biggest reasons is people know they need to make a change, they know you could help them, but they're fine with staying where they are. They're fine with tolerating mediocrity. They don't like their current situation, they have that problem that they want to fix, but it's not bad enough for them to actually do something about it. Unfortunately, if that's the case, you can't really help these people. They have to be willing to make that change. Now, how do you find good remote contractors? The best way to find them is going to be through your own network. Now, if you don't have a network, then you're going to have to go and to find them yourself. And the way you can do that is by connecting with people on LinkedIn, going to Facebook groups. You'll find plenty of good remote contractors there, or utilizing platforms like Upwork or Fiverr. Upwork in particular is extremely powerful because plenty of people know about this platform and there's plenty of good remote contractors already on those kinds of platforms. Now look, you need to make a choice. You can keep watching YouTube videos on how to build a profitable business, how to make money online, but doing that won't make you more money. Or if you're committed to starting your business so you can become financially free, I invite you to check out the free resources in the description below or directly apply to get your free call with me or my team, and we'll see if we can help you. That being said, if you found this video helpful, share it with a friend, and together let's blow up this YouTube channel to empower ambitious individuals across the globe to become financially free.